Yes, sir. We are back. We're back in the building. Represent Podcast coming at you every single Tuesday. We're here. Um, Dude, I know. Like we have to get a guest on here. We'll have a guest next week. Okay, we already got it lined up. But I know it's. I don't know. I just feel like it's boring just me talking. It's nice having a conversation with somebody. And sometimes it's nice just kind of being here by yourself. But yeah, I want somebody to talk to. So yeah, we're gonna have someone next week, and hopefully for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, y'all stuck with me this week. Yeah, we're gonna make it happen, Captain. I was thinking, um, just throughout this week, I was thinking about relationships, and I guess I was just kind of going through some stuff, and we talked about that last episode. Um, I've just been kind of going through a mental funk. Um, just trying to figure stuff out and decipher some things. But I've been really thinking about the passage in Ecclesiastes, and I have it pulled up. Ecclesiastes 4:9 through 12, and it's talking about the power of relationship, the power of two people. Um, and I guess I'll just read it right now because we'll just get started right now. It says, two are better than one because they have good return on their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. I think my biggest struggle, and the struggle I see with other people as well, um, for Christians and even not Christians, for just people who want to be leaders, people who want to have influence, people who want to be efficient. I feel like so so often we find ourselves trying to do too much alone. And we then try to carry a load on our shoulders. But the moment we have a bad day, it gets really tough, right? The moment something goes wrong, it's kind of hard to recover because we fall down and we drop everything that was on our shoulders. So then we have to kind of get up, drag it all up, and it's just like a mental burden. And I think as people who just naturally we have that little bit of pride inside of us. We don't really want to ask for help. We really don't want to reach out and say, "Hey, like you mind, helping me in this area? I'm struggling here." People ask us, "How's it going?" "I'm fine." "How's it been going, man?" "I'm fine." That's the classic thing to say for everybody. "I'm fine." But you can be fine, but you need somebody to help you when things get tough. You need someone just to help you so life isn't so tough in general, to help carry your burdens. The Bible says, Jesus, he was talking about, he said, "Come to me, all who are weary, and I'll give them rest." And then he was talking about his burden is light, and he will carry your things like a yoke. And the idea of a yoke is it's this brace that goes on the shoulders of two animals. It was like oxen or horses. They'd put them on their back, or mules. They'd put them on their back, and these two animals would go and they would carry machinery on their back. And the reason why they would do that is because two is stronger than one. And what Jesus was saying is saying, my burden is light, my yoke is easy. It's saying, hey, once you're yoked up with Jesus, he's going to carry all the weight. Once you're connected to Jesus, he's going to help you through it. And I think even just thinking about it without Jesus, just you and someone else, we have to be yoked up with somebody so that we can be more efficient in our life. Because we have a lot of weight and we have a lot of problems and we have a lot of things that we have to do and a lot of things that we have to navigate in life. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to hook it up to ourselves and just pull it alone. Not only is it hard, not only is it impossible if something goes wrong, but it's just easier to do it with somebody. It's just easier. And that's what I want to talk about today is just the power of the power of a pair. The power of a pair, two people coming together and pairing up. because you have a lot of potential. You do. But you really can't reach your full potential without someone to help support. Michael Jordan ain't Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. Peanut butter ain't peanut butter without jelly. SpongeBob, Patrick. I mean, come on. Kobe, Shaquille O'Neal. Like, it's just simple. Some people probably like, MJ, it could do it alone. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay? But the idea of a pair is you need that person to help you. You need that person to make your life a little bit easier. And you can help each other. And that's what we see in Ecclesiastes 4. It says, two are better than one because they have good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help them up. And it says in verse 11, also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Verse 12 says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. How can one defend themselves? Right? How can one do this life alone? That's why it's important for Christians to band together so that we can all then share the gospel. But if there's one Christian in the world trying to do all the work, it's impossible, right? And if you are trying to do your life and you are trying to do things by yourself, it's impossible. You have potential. You have great gifts from God, but all those gifts will be magnified with teamwork. Power in pairing up. Power in the pair. And whenever we talk about pairing up with people, it's important to talk about who we're pairing up with. Because sometimes I feel like we're in relationships, whether it's friendships or it's dating or it's just acquaintances or it's just who we're hanging out with. I feel like sometimes we are settling down. We are settling for something that's not good. We're settling for something that's not God. Okay? If you're going to be an efficient pair, you're going to be a power duo, then you have to support each other and you have to be good for each other. And I think some people, we don't necessarily pick who we're around. We just decide that we're going to be around whoever's in our proximity. Well, I grew up with them, so I'm going to just rock with them. That was my best friend in high school, so we're just going to rock. We're okay. That's a pretty shallow way to pick who's going to be your inner circle. If y'all were best friends in high school, but y'all starting to go separate ways and y'all starting to believe different things, then split. Like, don't just linger around because you're just going to end up hurting each other. You're never going to reach your full potential if you don't have the same mind. And I think I've said this before, but if I want to be a great athlete, okay, and I want to wake up and work out every day, I want to eat right, I want to do stuff, I want to grind, I want to get better, hours upon hours every day working out, doing stuff. Why would I hang out with a bunch of people who are lazy and a bunch of slobs and a bunch of people who wake up at noon every day? Like, if I'm trying to focus on a certain goal, why would I hang out with people who are the opposite, right? To be efficient in my craft, I need to hang out with people who are trying to be efficient in that craft. Yeah? And it's the same thing with our walk with Christ and our walk as leaders. We have to be pairing up with people who are going to support us. And if we're just going to settle down for the people in our proximity, then we're not going to get anywhere. Like, if you have a kid, right, 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, you know, they're learning how to talk, they're learning how to form sentences, they're learning how to spell, all these things. If you throw that kid over to the UK, okay, you throw them into London, you let them stay there for a while, they're learning new things. They're trying to develop things. They're going to start talking different. They're going to start calling things different names. Their accent is going to be different, right? Because they are turning into their environment. They're not who they are. They're turning into their environment. They're not calling it French fries. They're calling it chips, okay? They're talking funny, right? Because they are forming into their environment. And that's not a good relationship to have with people. You have to have people who are going to support you for you, and you support them for them, and you encourage them to go on their route, and they encourage you to go on your own route. But I see so many people trying to get in relationships, and since we're in these relationships, they start talking different, acting different, being different, trying to be liked or trying to do things. If you have to act in a certain way to be liked in this relationship, then dip. If you have to do something other than be yourself to be appreciated, then dip. And I know we don't like to pull away from our relationships, but there is no power in a pair if you cannot be authentic in the pair. And that's just facts. If you can't be authentic with your partner in crime, then that should not be your partner in crime. And that's with all relationships. I see this in dating relationships, right? I've seen girls, they would talk about how their boyfriend is like verbally abusive and sometimes physically abusive. And they'd be like, yeah, he's always yelling at me and he's always mad, but we've been dating for like 10 months and he can be sweet sometimes. I'm like, baby, what you doing? That's an easy fix. Peace. Like, leave him. I don't know why we're even talking. If for the last 3 months he's been abusive to you and you're dating, there ain't no ring on that finger. Dip. But they're settling for the relationship that's pulling away from them, tearing away their joy, and we're settling for the relationship. I see guys, and same thing for them. They're in relationships and the girl is always like nagging them and always has a problem with them and always talking down on them and always is like verbally abusive to them. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you are dating to be married and marriage is supposed to be something beautiful and beneficial for you, then clearly this ain't it. So peace. That's for dating. But just like friendships and just like business partners and just like all these things, sometimes we find ourselves settling. Well, yeah, they really don't like me doing this, so I'm just not going to do that. But it's okay. We can go and we'll leave that behind. That's who you are, though. That's your whole identity. You better go pick that up and leave, bro. We're settling for relationships, but you can't settle for relationships and be a power pair. Don't settle. Don't settle with the people just because they're the closest to you. Don't settle with the people just because you've known them the longest. God is going to deliver that person to you who is meant for you. Let's read this again. Why not? 2 are better than 1 because they have good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. We need to have partners. We need to have good partners. Because look, ain't nobody a superhero. Everybody's trying to be He-Man or something, or Superman or Batman. They trying to do everything alone. And that's just not the way we were meant to do it. Like, if you want to be a leader, you have to know how to delegate. And you need to know how to split up work and pass it on to other people. If you're a leader of something and you got people who are trying to help you, hey, you take care of that little piece, you take care of that little piece, and I'll do this. Let people help you. Let people do things, because that's how you're going to be more efficient. And I just realized so often in my life, the reason why I get in these stages of just like funk, and I get in these stages of just like slowly depression and anxiety is just starting to creep up. Slowly, these things are just really starting to they're trying to conquer my mind. The reason that comes up for me is because I'm trying to fight alone. And I'm just like, nah, bro, you can't tell nobody because you don't want to burden them, or you don't want to do this, or you do. And I'm just trying to do it alone. And at the end of the day, I just wait until it gets so bad. And then I'm like, all right, I have to fix this now. Don't get in that problem in the first place. Have people with you. Talk to people. Let them help you. Strip your pride away and let people help you. You have potential to do great things, but not without help. You have potential to be a great leader and to have great influence, but you need a support cast. You need people there with you. You need people to help move in the direction, because two are better than one. Two carrying a burden is going to be easier than you trying to carry a burden. You cannot make it to the finish line with the weight of the world on your shoulders, because a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. So you and other people supporting you will not easily be broken. Get help. Allow yourself to have help. Strip your pride away. That is what an efficient leader looks like. I guess the ultimate thing for this whole talk so far is leave your pride at the door. Leave your pride at the door. I saw this. My dad, he passed away when I was 12. And my dad was like very smart. Like history, for some reason, he was just very smart with history. And because of that, he was very smart with his Bible. My dad really didn't go to church ever since I was a kid. Like, he was a Christian. My mom was a Christian, but he never really went to church, but he knew his Bible. But my dad was one of the most prideful people I've ever met. My whole family was, really. Like, everybody in my family, and the people around me, my siblings and stuff, everybody was just pretty prideful. Everybody, we had that mindset of, I got it. I'm good. And that was what my dad had. And it was like that macho man mentality, you know? And I remember I was like, I didn't think much of it, but it drives you crazy. It drives you crazy. Trying to have everything figured out all the time and trying to take care of everything all the time. Like, at some point, it's going to break you. And I remember my dad, he was a pipeliner, and he did that forever. Like, that's all he did. He was just a hard worker, the hardest worker I've ever met. He just grinded every day to make money to support us. And this was like 2008, 9, something, one of those years. But like, his pipeline company went out of business. No pipeline company was hiring. Pipeline companies around America were firing employees. Yeah, this was like 2008 or 2009. And they were like firing employees because there was no business, right? Because that's whenever we were like importing oil from out of the whatever. So he didn't have a job. And that's all he knew was pipelining. And all he knew was that he was going to be the one to support this family. And he had to have a job that was manly, right? Because that's what his pride was just like, I have to have a job that makes good money so I can support my family. Well, there was nothing hiring. So I remember I walked in on my dad one day and he was on the computer. I was like, what you doing? He's like, oh, I have to take this test to get certified. I'm like, what you getting certified for? He's like, oh, to be a gas station attendant. And I was like, yo, what? But, yeah, he was doing this like little test and he did his application. He got the job and he worked at a gas station for like several months. And I remember I was thinking, I was like, wow, that's what stripped pride looks like. And I've never in my kid life been more proud of my dad. I've never realized that he was a prideful man until I saw him strip his pride away and take something that was so low in his eyes. Seeing how much he despised the fact that he had to go work at a gas station. I was like, that's what it looks like. So now in my life, whenever I see myself just trying to figure everything out and trying to do all these things, I think about my dad and think about that very moment where he could not do anything else. There was no options. There was nothing. He had to strip his pride away and just do what was best for the family. And for us in our relationships with God, our relationships with people, let people help you. Don't take advantage of people. Like, people think, oh, I just don't want to burden them, or I don't want to be like, you're not a burden. You're not a burden. Get help. Let them help you. Because this crazy world, Christians are not going to be efficient if everybody's trying to do their own thing. Christians are going to be efficient if we band together and go out with purpose. A pastor is not a pastor of a successful church without a support staff. He's not. We need each other to help magnify Christ. We need each other to help move this movement on. We want to get the gospel to the world, we got to work together. You want to become a better leader, you got to work with somebody. You want to be more efficient, you want to have more influence, you want to be more productive, you need somebody. And we have to be with people. Obviously, if anybody was going to do something alone and make a big difference, it would be Jesus. And what did he do? He had disciples. If anybody could do life by himself, if anybody could conquer the world by himself and be efficient and be productive by himself, it would be Jesus. And even he decided to work with people, the disciples. He decided to work with a group of people to get the gospel out. And you think you're going to do it alone? You think you're just going to go out there and be on your own and you're going to do your own thing and be efficient? Jesus didn't even do that. Jesus decided to work with people and that they would go out together and change the world. He could have done it by himself, but he didn't. Because he knew how efficient it would have been with a team. Be a team player. Get you some people who are going to support you, who you're also going to support. It's a two-way street. Get people who you can support and they can support you. And you can be your real authentic self. And watch your productivity go up. Watch how efficient you become. Watch how much more joy and how much more peace enters your life just by working with people, just by teaming up. And I think the first thing we have to do, the way we start having relationships, is letting God in. We have to let God in. You're trying to navigate life alone. You're trying to figure out problems alone. Let God in. You're fighting mental battles with the world. You're trying to fight different things, trying to carry different burdens. You're trying to move and do this mission alone. Let God in. My burden is light. I got you. Come to me, all who are weary. You're tired right now. Go to God. He's trying to help you. You can only be as efficient as your pair, because there is power in a pair. I think that's just what's been on my mind. It's just navigating our relationships with people, with God, and just with the world. How are we going to operate? What is the most efficient way to do things? Leave your pride at the door. We don't need that. We don't need that. Shaquille O'Neal needed somebody to throw an alley up to him. That's why Kobe Bryant was there. Jordan, he needed somebody to get the ball from. That's what Scottie Pippen was for. I love basketball. Okay. You need somebody. You need a support staff. That starts with God. But you have to let him in. God's a gentleman. He's knocking on your door. He ain't going to barge in on your busy schedule. God's not going to kick your door down and enter your life. You have to let him in. God's waiting. Hey, I know you're weary right now. I know your burden is heavy right now. Let me in. I want to help you. Take my yoke upon you. I got you. My burden is light. I can carry you. You just got to let me in. And so many people have too much pride, and we want to do it alone. We want to do life alone. So we ignore God. But if you would just let God in and allow him to help you, you would see how much more potential you have. How much more joy and peace can enter your life just by letting God in. He's knocking. You just got to open the door and let him help you. You just got to let people help you. Let God help you. Let people help you. And you're going to be efficient. Period. Yay. Yay. Yeah. We had to miss last week. I hate that we had to miss last week. But that's why I missed that's why I missed last week, and that's why we didn't have an episode last week. I came in here and I tried to record 5 times, and I just could not form a sentence. I clicked record on that camera and on this mic 5 times, bro. And mentally, bro, my mind was just racing, and I could not. I was just going through so much in my mind, just trying to navigate stuff. But again, I wasn't getting anywhere because I was trying to do it alone. And I was just worried about the future. I was worried about this. I was worried about that. And I was like, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do it? And I couldn't possibly focus on this podcast. And because I couldn't focus on the podcast, I had to sacrifice that for the week. Whenever you don't get help from others, whenever you take on too much on your plate, whenever things start to burden you, you have to make sacrifices. Something has to go. And that's whenever it becomes a problem. Whenever you have to let things go because you have too much on your plate. But if you would just get help from others, you can carry much more. You can carry much more. I need to play some music. I've been listening to this song. Hold up. Let me pull it up for you. Let me pull it up. Hold up. Where is it at? Do 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 do. Oh no. Where's it at? Here it is. Got that beautiful piano.
Father's endless mercy prepared a table for me. How can it even be? You sent your son down to save me. No other name will I praise but yours. No other name will I praise but yours. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Okay. Sorry, we had to have a 50-second song break right there. Represent Podcast. I love y'all. Every Tuesday we're going to be here, okay? We're going to be right here. Listen. Whenever you wake up in the morning and you get dressed, all right? make sure you take your pride off and leave that at the door before you leave the house. Leave your pride at the house and watch how good life goes. Ooh, that was nasty. Represent Podcast every single Tuesday. Follow us on all socials. Love y'all. Peace. Hold up. Exit music. Represent Podcast every single Tuesday. Follow us on all socials. Love y'all. Peace. Ooh, that was nasty.